One of the main focuses on this interview is on the concept of fifth state, something that caught our attention in 2019. From that, could you start this interview explaining about the origin of this concept and about your dependence of effectiveness with the expansion of citizens' access to the internet?
Sure. I think it primarily, I sort of discovered the fifth estate before I had a label for it. And it was when I was directing the Oxford Internet Institute in 2000. I came on in 2002, and we started surveying the UK public about their use of the internet. And one of the most interesting findings over time was the degree to which search was becoming increasingly central to the way in which people use the internet. And for example, from I think 2005 to now, it's grown from a third of the about 2/3 of the public almost go to search for the first thing. It's the first place they go for almost anything. And with mobile phones now, particularly with mobile phones being on people and anytime, anywhere, and a question comes up, even an argument between friends or something, you often go to search to just the internet to look at different sources to see to sort of resolve differences of opinion or facts in the case. And it was, what's interesting about it was that search, this sort of repeats what I've written about, but search is interesting because instead of people going to a local institution or their friends and family or experts nearby that they know, they go anywhere in the world where they can find the content they're interested in. And this meant that people were sourcing their own information independent of specific institutions. It's not like institutions are not fundamentally important for generating the billions of files that are on the internet and web pages and so forth, but that the sourcing of that information is more independently managed by individuals. And so they are relatively empowered. Their communicative or information empowerment is relatively greater because they have the access to the internet and search to source their own information. And there are several other strategies, but that was the first thing I saw that said, oh my gosh, we've got, people are independently sourcing their own information and then often talking to others or reposting, and that is analogous to the press. But so that, when the whole idea of the fourth estate was the idea that the press were an independent basis of information, but then they had access to thousands of people via their print magazines and newspapers. And therefore they had a power independent of the traditional estates, the public intellectuals, the government, and business and industry, because the press didn't rely on that. Their influence was based upon their ability to reach people, and that's how they were powerful. So, especially relative to anybody that's not on the internet, the individuals that are, members of the fifth estate are relatively more empowered. And then I go on, but that was sort of discovering that in sort of a light bulb moment where it's like, okay, this is much more important than just the fact that the people use search. It has a difference in power shifts going on in society, and of course, I should say every other institutions have access to search. I mean, institutions use search now increasingly, and institutions use source from individuals as well, or the press does as well. But it does empower these individuals, And so that this is a new phenomena in the internet age, I think, the digital age, which I think is overall positive because it creates a more pluralistic political environment for information. And of course, the other things that they do are they source their own information. They originate text and they originate videos, and they take, they take videos of police arresting people, and all these issues are. But also they can network with other individuals of their choosing, and in a way that empowers them as well. So both through networking and search and sourcing, all these strategies are ways in which the fifth estate is more empowered.